presence. Top 10 WWE wrestlers that were once pornstars. 10th. X-Pac. Shawn X-Pac Waltman is a legend in wrestling. He is lovingly remembered by fans for his time in WWE and WCW during the Attitude Era. During that time, he had a successful career in singles and tag team competition. As a part of the Clique, he was the only person to become a member of both the NWO and DX, two of the greatest factions of all time. In 2004, he made a porn flick with then-fiancée and former DX member Chyna. It was distributed by Red Light District, the same company who put out Paris Hilton's sex tape of the same year. The video contains explicit depictions of various sexual acts and sold over 100,000 copies. In 2006, the movie won an Adult Video News Award for top-selling release of the year. As with most of his mistakes, Waltman admitted to being high on marijuana throughout the filming. 9th. Lizzie Borden. Lizzie Borden is a former pornographic actress and director. She served time in prison in 2009 for her part in the distribution of obscene material, along with her husband Rob Black. The pair were famous for producing extreme pornography which depicted rape and murder. You may be shocked to know that she was also involved in the world of professional wrestling during the late 90s and early zeros. Borden and Black formed the XPW in 1999 and hired many porn actresses to work as wrestlers and valets. Lizzy played the role of the heel authority figure, similar to the way which Stephanie McMahon operates. Nonetheless, she did manage to attract some mainstream talent to the roster, Major Guns and Shane Douglas. The latter was a multiple-time World Heavyweight Champion for the promotion. After the demise of WCW and ECW, he returned to XPW and became the company's last ever champion and appeared at its last event in his hometown of Pittsburgh. 8. Jenna Jamison. You may think I'm just clutching at straws here, and she may have never been an actual wrestler, but she was closer to the business than you might think. I'm sure we have all heard of Jenna, the famous porn star. What you may not know is that she appeared on many pro wrestling shows during the 1990s. After moving away from her career in the sex world with a series of radio, film and television appearances, Jameson appeared at ECW Hardcore Heaven 97, accompanying the Dudley family to the ring. She also made an appearance at ECW Living Dangerously in March 1998. It didn't stop there. Later in 1998, she filmed a vignette with a legendary performer Val Venis to be aired on WWE television. He was working the suit pornster gimmick at that time, and I guess they thought it would be a nice combination. I'm sure their flocks of male teenage fans were overjoyed to see one of their crushes on screen with the former Intercontinental Champion. 7th. Gangrel. Gangrel. He made being a vampire cool, much like Blade did. This was long before Twilight made me consider suicide. During the height of the Attitude Era, he was one of the most interesting characters on the WWE roster. Who else drank blood from a goblet and spattered at his opponents and or fans during a match? As a part of the Brood, he was legendary, working alongside Edge and Christian. Although both went on to become World Heavyweight Champions, the leader of the group has gone down a very different route. In the late 2000s, David Heath signed a deal with New Porn Order to help make 12 pictures. He wouldn't be appearing in the flicks, but directing. This would be a strange new adventure for the man who had been brought back by WWE in the years directly previous. They had tried to use him as a goon for JBL in a feud with The Undertaker. They had even planned to bring him in as part of a new vampire stable in the relaunched ECW brand. That went up in smoke because he couldn't lose enough weight. 6th. Mickie James. Mickie James is mostly remembered for her great wrestling abilities, and rightly so. She is, however, one of many female wrestlers to have posed nude, all happening before she became famous. Now doing some lingerie snaps for Playboy or Maxim does not earn you a place on this list. Mickie's exploits were much more full-frontal, and occurred multiple times during the span of her wrestling career. After working hard to perfect her trade in various wrestling schools, she got her big break in 2002 with TNA. She eventually ended up in WWE, being introduced in October 2005 and participating in a memorable feud with Trish Stratus that lasted almost a year. After becoming Divas Champion herself and establishing herself as one of the best talents in women's wrestling, she returned to TNA and continued to have success. 5th. Hulk Hogan. The Hulkster makes the list for his starring role in a sensational sex tape back in 2012. The video shows his steamy love encounter with Heather Clem, the ex-wife of his then best friend, and fat annoying radio DJ Bubba the Love Sponge. It was strongly rumored that Bubba had worked with her in filming the action, hoping to release it for profit, and can apparently be heard saying, "If we ever need to retire, this is our ticket," towards the end of the tape. Hogan was apparently devastated when the video, which he had apparently been shot some 6 years earlier, hit the internet. He told the Today Show that his life had been turned totally upside down by the tape. His partner in crime was said to be a voyeur who planned the whole thing, having been obsessed with the former multiple-time world champion for some time. After the surprise emergence of the tape, Hulk worried that another embarrassing sex tape may surface in the future. You just never know when someone might be filming you having sex with them. Let's hope, for the sake of the universe, that there are no more. 4th. Beulah McGillicutty. Beulah was a much-loved member of the ECW roster during its most entertaining and controversial period. Since her days as a full-time wrestling personality ended in 1998, she has married Tommy Dreamer and had twin girls. Trissa Laughlin, her real name, since marrying Tommy, appeared in something much less mainstream and much more shocking than her daughters during the early days of her career. She was filmed masturbating. It was said to be made for former ECW champion Dreamer, who she was already with at the time. I guess that went horribly wrong. You would think these showbiz people would be more careful. She also made appearances for WWE at the 2 ECW One Night Stand events in 2005 and 2006. 3rd. Major Guns. WCW fans may remember Tylene Bach, most famously known as Major Guns. She started her career in wrestling as one of many fitness models brought into the company to play the NWO girls. They would come to the ring as candy valets for the faction. After a short stint at that, she became a backstage interviewer, but that didn't last long either. It was after those stop and starts that she became known as Major Guns and actively feuded with various members of the roster. Her highlight was probably turning heel to help Lance Storm secure the United States Championship and joining Team Canada. She was released by the company shortly before its inevitable demise and sale to WWE. But that's not what you came here to find out, is it? After leaving, she joined Lizzie Borden's Extreme Pro Wrestling and feuded with her, while working as the Sandman's valet. That seemed to be a stepping stone toward more racy endeavors. As of December 2005, she is out of the wrestling business and working as a pornographic actress for Seymour Butt's Lighthouse Talent Agency. Having spent time around the bizarre Lizzie Borden, I'm assuming she was ready for anything. 2nd. Candice Michelle. The former WWE Women's Champion is probably one of the most known cases of a wrestler who did some acting of the adult variety. She starred in multiple softcore porn movies. Candice was filmed basically frolicking naked on top of some guy, while some terribly cheesy music was played. Her videos are no worse than what you could see in most HBO television dramas or many Hollywood movies. The reason she comes in so high on the list is because of how infamous her indiscretions are. Whenever you ask any wrestling fan which divas they know who did porn, her name always comes up. She isn't a barely memorable valet of the 80s. She was a regular in-ring competitor on Raw and SmackDown every week for around 5 years, and was appearing as recently as 2009. She can be seen on the alumni page of the WWE website. I guess her old antics wouldn't fit with the PG era, but WWE don't expect their younger viewers to find such exploits. With the ever-lowering literacy among that demographic, they may be wrong. 1st. Chyna. Last but certainly not least is Chyna. The woman once known as the ninth wonder of the world during her time in WWE, is easily the most well-known wrestler to have done porn. The surprising thing about her is that she wasn't a glamour model who got into the business to be eye candy. Along with a passion for bodybuilding, she trained with the legendary Killer Kowalski and became probably the most influential and successful female competitor in the history of mainstream wrestling. She became the only woman to ever win the Intercontinental Championship, not once, but 3 times. Her women's championship reign seems small fry in comparison, and that's the belt that every woman in the business dreamed of capturing. After a brief stint in New Japan Pro Wrestling after leaving the WWE, she began her journey into pornography in 2004. That was the time of her infamous on-screen performance with XPac. Amid a whirlwind of drugs and depression, she appeared in 6 pornographic movies in the 7 years leading to 2013. Her most recent exploit was her role as She-Hulk in an Avengers porn parody only last year. The most appalling one I've seen has to be Queen of the Ring. Do not watch that tape. It's like watching her in the Rumble match all over again, only very soul-destroying. It may seem like a tragic fall from grace, but if she is anywhere near as good a porn star as she was a wrestler, Chyna should do. Okay.